What's your data worth, Alexander McCaig?
I'm going to keep my headphones on like a DJ.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Does that look good? Do you like my headpiece?
I love EDM. You do too.
What? EDM?
Oh, dude, I love this whole EDM did such an amazing job in handling COVID, like Insomniac channels, You Love Above and Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
They just started saying, okay, well, this is what we do. We're DJs and we do sets. So let's just do them with the camera in front of us.
Let's adapt.
Yeah. And then they adapted. And so, millions, literally millions of, like they have these park and raves. I was watching one the other night on the Insomniac channel and, they shout out to them, because they just handled it so well. But they were even having like guys coming. They have all these cars that park, and then you sit in your car.
Love that
in these old drive-up studios.
Yeah,
and comedians are doing this too. So you just stay in your car, you listen, you tune it in or whatever, and then they just have it going.
How do I dance in my car?
Well, here's what happened. Especially the millennials and the younger especially Gen Z. So here's what Gen Z decides
damn millennials.
to do. Gen Z decides to get out of their car and start
You bet
raving.
they do. You bet they will.
Because what is the risk of COVID for a Gen Z? a flu's going to get you more than COVID does. I don't mean to be mean. I mean, but that's statistical. That's kids. Kids are COVID's like whatever.
Yeah, later kids.
Later kids. So let's talk about kids.
Let's talk about kids, teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, Bloomberg, you did a really poor job with this. The title,
Bloomberg, bro.
First of all, the title sucks, and then your first sentence, the first establishment of this is essentially a joke. Not even the first sentence. I just want to talk about this. It says teenagers are most convinced there's a climate emergency. Why does somebody need convincing if all the data is in front of you? And even if you're not on a computer, get in a little boat or airplane, go up to Greenland. And then after you're done with that, fly to the Sahara and realize that places are becoming more arid and dry. It's expanding. Fly over to Indonesia. Look at all the rainforests getting chopped down. Look at the phytoplankton levels in the ocean. You don't have to go online to do it. Go get a test tube. Go do it yourself. What do you mean most convinced? This is not a function of convincing.
How about a fishing vessel? With the big nets.
Yeah, with the big nets. It's a fact.
Watch what comes up.
Watch what comes up. It's a freaking fact. And why is it that you're only highlighting teenagers and them being convinced? This is not about convincing someone.
Or a belief. This isn't a belief.
And this is what they drag it into. They say they believe. They believe that this is what belief says? Belief says that I don't have to think for myself. That I'm going to let some other person tell me what the facts are. Mm-hmm. You don't need to listen to anybody else. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to look at the data online, get out of your car. Get out of your office. Go outside. Take your own observations. What are you talking about? What a joke. Laura Millen Labrana, who wrote this at Bloomberg.
Go to China and look at and then start walking around. Breathe in the air. Go for a run. And see. Go in some of the largest cities in China and go for a run and see how your lungs feel.
Oh man, dude! Look, BlackRock Chairman CEO Larry Fink said in the statement, "Helping investors prepare their portfolios and capture investment opportunities on the path to net zero is one of our greatest responsibilities." Your focus of your greatest responsibility is how you catch profit off of the problem. Do you know how whacked out that sounds?
But that's how they view the pandemic. That's how they view a lot of these.
Oh, there's crisis.
How can
we invest in pharmaceuticals?
Right. Yeah.
What are you like? What's that French family that did all the investing during the Civil War? Why is their name escaping me? What are you, a Rothschild?
Yeah.
Where you just pay both sides and you don't care as long as there's chaos? Like, what a...
Let me fund Britain, Germany, and the United States, and the Italian, and the Russians, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And if they lose, I own their assets. And if they win, I get paid back. I win on both sides.
Yeah, it's crazy. It says in the article that that this was the largest ever climate opinion poll. So they did the largest ever climate opinion poll, and globally, 69% of people under 18 years old believe climate change is an emergency.
Believe.
Yeah, that
They
believe
don't
that.
believe you know.
They know. They have the sense to be able to see it. And it is an emergency. We have 40 to 70 years left. That's an emergency. We have a lifetime.
Or even half a lifetime in some instances.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or even less than half.
And only 58% of people that are older than 60 believe that it's that. So the United Nations Development Program.
I can't stand the word believe.
The study doesn't include China, the world's biggest emitter of greenhouse gases, of course. But I would say I bet the younger generation in China believes this too, because they're experiencing it.
China knows.
They see their grandfather dying of
If I'm
lung
watching
cancer.
people walking around with masks on before there was even COVID,
Yeah.
they know there's a problem. Do they not?
Yeah, and I like what Stephen Fisher, a sociology professor at the University of Oxford, because the University of Oxford was involved in this. He was co-authored the study. He said this: we've also found that most people clearly want a strong and wide-ranging policy response.
Okay. Policy does not fix the problem. It's us buying stuff. We humans, with our behaviors,
That's where I
habits,
was
and
hoping you were
consumption,
going to go. Yeah.
are the things that drive it. Policy does not fix your problem. I can't put a policy in place, Jason, and then say that, oh, this is going to solve me from going out and buying 1,000 rolls of toilet paper when I don't need to do so. The policy does not change people's behaviors. It punishes them for doing the behaviors.
Yes.
You are like 10 degrees off or levels off of what you should be focusing on. And that's the human behavior in this. If you want to save the oceans, if that's a goal for you, stop mass commercial fishing the oceans. Simple as that. If it's a consumer, don't buy the damn tuna from Whole Foods. Just because you bought it from Whole Foods doesn't mean you're saving the ocean. You still had to shoot the fish, with some like gas-powered spear, right? Or drag it up in some big old net, got the thing on the ship, and you do it by the millions every single day.
Well, I mean, you look at tuna populations.
Yeah.
They have a chart on that. I was just looking at it because my favorite website I look at. You always talk about it, the marine biologist website. But they were showing from the 1960s to now.
Aeon one? Which one was it?
No, it wasn't Aeon.
Woods Hole?
Haiku.
Haiku. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, it's not haiku, but Hakayo or something.
Yeah.
But they were showing a chart of tuna and then the amount of consumption and then the amount of population. And it's like tuna's going to be endangered. And fairly quickly. Yeah. There are certain tuna that are endangered. But you know what? That big miles and miles long net?
Yeah.
It's not a smart net. It can't say
choosing
this
tuna.
is an endangered species. There's a dolphin that I was reading the other day. There's a dolphin that there's like 111 left off the coast of San Diego.
It's a shame.
There's like 111 of them left.
It's a shame.
That net doesn't know that there's only 111 of these dolphins left.
Why? You don't... Dude, you are making yourself extinct. Do you not see that? Are you so blind and oblivious to your behaviors that you're making yourself extinct?
We're making
and you're
ourselves
talking to me
extinct.
about net zero investments, about capturing gains off of a critical moment in human history?
Well, an 18-year-old's going to be 58. And 58 is going to be really young in 40 years.
Can you guarantee to me that they'll even make it that long? No.
Yeah.
You can't. You freaking can't.
Yeah, and it is emergency. And like Moldova, which is a very poor country outside of Russia, 61%, teenagers. Kryza Republic, 62%. Sri Lanka, 62%. Argentina, 63%.
Because it's their future. It's their life.
They know. They're seeing all the cattle.
It's their children's future.
I mean, Argentina is number one cattle producing. I mean, how many greenhouse gases are going on there with?
Yeah,
and then
the nitrates that leach into the soil and then into the
from all the-
waterways, and
yeah.
then you get ocean darkening and all that other great stuff that happens with it.
Yeah, so I think this article, I like that these articles are coming out. I like that they're taking the time. University of Oxford took the time to do this poll.
Yeah, but you know who didn't take the time? Bloomberg. Trash title, trash statements.
Well, they're also trying to be, Bloomberg, I think, is kind of moderately conservative.
Get over
So
your
they're-
political self.
But that's what we judge everything with.
Dude, it's data or it's not.
Yeah.
Don't be dogmatic. Don't be completely agnostic to whatever political side is coming on here.
It's
Tell it how it is.
well, I mean, we're dependent on policy. You're dependent on politicians, really? You're going to depend your future of humanity going extinct
On policy?
on a Trump or a Biden.
Yeah.
Really?
Do you know what I'm going to put?
Do you think that guy is going to help you?
No. You know what I'm going to put mine on? I'm going to go outside and pick up trash. I'm going to go be responsible for my environment. I'm going to not buy these dead creatures in a can at a store.
Do you know what Trump and Biden are mostly worried about?
What?
Re-election. When somebody gets elected, do you know what they spend all of their time on? It's not policy making
No.
to help. It's getting reelected.
Do you think someone really cares in a 4 to 8 year span? Really, what major impact's going to happen? No.
It's a political system that feeds on itself through the media.
It's upper limit,
and
dude.
all of it is based on control mechanisms, and they use corporations as sponsors. That's why I think they should be like NASCAR.
Yeah.
They should have to wear the badges they should show the percentages.
Depending on the size of the badge.
If it's
Walking
Philip
around
Morris.
like, are you behind that? Yo,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah, let's see what.
You know?
Let's see what. But then and this is a huge thing. And I encourage people. There's a podcast. Jocko Willink interviewed Tulsi Gabbard. Where she was like, she's Hawaiian. She was a Democrat, and she was slated to be like, this is the next. She's super intelligent. She was in the military. She's still in the military. She's an officer in the military.
Sure.
So he did a 4.5 hour podcast with her, where she went through. And she just laid it out. She's like, I'm done with Washington. She got out, she's like, but she ran for president and was on the stage and she was eating everybody's lunch. Like if you watch her debates, just amazing.
Awesome.
And she's more like common sense, so if we have Republicans out there, you should listen to her.
Common sense?
She's more like common sense and wants to, and she's looking at this. She was talking about like environmental impact in Hawaii and stuff like that. And then getting into the world. And then she was looking at how we make policies. And then she went against, like, she's like, I don't think, even though I'm a Democrat, I don't think Hillary Clinton should be in office. And so what happened? Well, that's where it started. It's like, we love you. You're number one. We want you to speak. We want everything. Oh, you went against the party?
Yeah.
So then she talks about this. She gets phone calls.
They're
you for the future of you think, so all these old peeps are calling
classic.
her. Yeah, 'cause she's young. So all these old peeps are calling her and be like, I don't think you should say that publicly. Well, she went against Obama for speaking. She talks about this too. She went against Obama whenever they're going to go into a country and invade. She's like, let's have diplomacy first. Let's think about this. Let's not just recklessly go in there.
Sure.
And so then she wrote an article and then it went viral about it, and so then they call her again, White House. This is Obama. He's in office. The White House generals and people like that was like, she's like, I'm on the foreign committee. This is what I'm supposed to do. We're on this committee. The whole committee agrees this is a bad idea. Republicans and Democrats agree this is a bad idea. We need to think about this before we just run into another country.
Sure.
And invade them.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's not what the party. We need you to support the party.
It doesn't work for the party. If it doesn't work for the business, we're not going to invest in it.
And this
Even
has
if
happened
it's
Republican,
ESG.
Democrat. I'm not picking on one party.
But use that as a metaphor. Say it was an ESG investment. Okay, if we're worried about climate change, even though somebody may come out with a solution that works phenomenally well.
Well, electric cars. Look at electric cars.
But there's no financial return. They won't invest in it. They won't invest in it. Think about that. Because it's not good for them financially. They don't really care about the planet. It's about the financial aspect. Do you know who actually cares? And I'll give a shout out to them. Wellington Capital Management, Boston, Massachusetts.
That's awesome.
They come out with a statement. And you know what they say? We are willing to invest in firms that are truly here to protect this world in the ESG sense, even if we know we will receive no return financially. That's where they're putting their chips. Talk about a company putting their money where their mouth is.
That's
Talk
awesome.
about someone who really, truly cares, does the research and says, you want to know something? These people have the right outlet. This charitable organization is doing the right thing, the right research, even though they're not going to make a return. But if the return is preservation of this planet, Wellington Capital Management will bet their bottom dollar on it.
But I guarantee you the companies that are being the most looking at the environment first and then deciding on their supply chains how they're going to do it, like Patagonia, they're making profit.
Yeah,
people are willing and more than happy to, because an 18-year-old is wearing Patagonia just as much as a 60-year-old, and that company is making profit. I guarantee you, they're not sacrificing profit.
You can't. Yeah, they're not they're in the business. They're running a business.
So if I'm going to pay $200 for a jacket, I'm going to pay $240 for the jacket, but I know the cotton has been sourced properly.
And the person got paid properly. And all this
That's not, people are looking at it. If they go to, why do people go to Trader Joe's?
I go to Trader Joe's.
Yeah, I mean, I do too, or Whole Foods. Why? It's not because it's like a status symbol. There may be some of that, but I think at the end of the day, it's like I trust the brand. I know I'm going to pay a little bit more, but at least I know the green beans that I'm eating is not going to has more chemicals in it than it has nutrients.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I just, I wish, that places like Whole Foods would be like, we're for the environment. If you are, stop selling fucking cans of tuna. Wake up.
Or
just like
make a compromise and say the ones that because they have the guys, and it's a really cool picture. Have you seen the guys, the commercial fishers that fish with a pole? Yep. So they get into, and it's really cool. You should see a picture of it.
But
so
dude, they could never supply all the Whole Foods.
No, they can't. But
so I would just.
But I mean, if that tuna may be double the price, but buy it from that ethically sourced.
Yeah, and we're just, the thing is, people will stop the tuna fishing if no one's buying it in the store, and or if it's not offered in the store. Okay, well, then that's it.
Well, Tony Robbins, everybody knows him, like positive guru guy or whatever. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I love his money book that he wrote, but he was just eating tuna all the time and fish and vegetables and fish.
Yeah.
And he started getting he talks about this, he started getting really, really sick. Really
methyl mercury?
Yeah. So the doctor went.
Do you know how many pharmaceuticals is in that stuff?
The doctor went and gave him gave him a mercury test. Mm-hmm. And it was like through the roof.
Okay, so
I mean, eating fish is bad for you anyways. And farm raised fish have way more mercury than.
Yeah, listen, and it's not good for your health, and it's not good for the planet for how we actually harvest these things. It's a bad practice. Well,
why don't we have farmers come down and get all those alligators? We could start eating some. I've had some alligator meat. It's pretty good. Tastes like chicken.
It's just like astonishing. And you know what's really cool? What it's a great like ESG investment is in these like synthesized meats. Yeah. They have like fish now that's made out of plant protein.
Right.
And this is not a thing to say, oh, you need to be vegan or vegetarian. That's not what I'm talking about.
Or why don't we, why haven't we know regenerative farming works.
Yeah, why aren't they doing it?
Because it's actually taking, and I watched that whole show and it was amazing, that guy. He's actually built the soil back up to this. Every year, the soil is 60 years better.
Yeah, it kept losing its nutrient density.
Yeah, so he moves the chickens around, moves the pigs around, moves the cows around. Has them. Everybody's happy, everything's going good till they die. But, but I mean,
come here, Jimmy. I got to slaughter you today.
You got to have oats in one section, corn in the other, and then you mix it up. Mm-hmm. And regenerative farming, it's like the buffalo on these huge plains.
That they used to shoot on the side of trains?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, you could have cows that have the same thing. You could have cows roaming around like buffalo do, move the crops around. They've already figured out, science has proven regenerative farming can work. Can we have the amount of cows that we have now? No. Do we need to lower our meat consumption? Yes.
That's obvious.
And
so, if you invest in a diet that really is good for you,
yes,
you're also investing in the planet.
Yes.
Okay. That's just hands down. That's that effect. And if you're worried, if you're convinced there's an emergency, well, take an emergency action in your mind then. Mm-hmm. Immediately that a habit has to change.
Yes.
It's a function of human behavior driven by thought that puts us into this crisis.
And I think there's a self-discipline component about it. I mean, you've been vegan for a while now. Mm-hmm. I'm not. But whenever you look at these 18-year-olds, you're still going to freaking McDonald's all the time. Yeah, you say the climate's an emergency, but your actions don't show that.
I know.
If you're 18 and you're young, we can't rely on grandma and grandpa. There's an evolutionary process with this. So if you feel like you're more enlightened, take the opportunity to.
Prove it.
I know you may not have a lot of money.
Prove it.
But I guarantee you, going to McDonald's and spending $7, you could take the $7, go to Trader Joe's, and you could get like 3 meals.
Yeah, and meal prep something healthy.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
That means you take the responsibility to look towards the future rather than what is something I can get right now that's cheap, fast, and easy. But I care about the climate.
Do you know how cheap it is to make soups?
Dude, You know how I make soup? I don't even get stock. I throw water in there and I throw a bunch of stuff and I boil it and then I eat it.
Crock pots.
Who cares?
And then you never
have to look at it.
One big crock pot. I do this all the time. One big crock pot and to make some rice.
Yeah.
Have some stew. Dude, it is so cheap. And it'll fill up like 15 containers.
It's dirt
That's
cheap.
a week full. And it cost me less than like $20 to eat for a week.
And the vitamins and minerals are stuck in the broth. Nothing was lost. You know,
It's very, very simple.
these things are not complex. Okay. This climate issue is not complex.
No.
It's extremely straightforward. It's 100% a function of human behavior. It's a function of our habits and our choice of responsibility and self-awareness. Nothing else.
It's not the policy decision makers. It's us deciding
You know,
individually.
when I hear policy, there's so many policies that get thrown out there, I can't keep track of them. I'm trying to keep track of what's going on in my own head. And someone like issues a policy and then I got to go follow
Your
it.
policy and your policymakers, they're all talking about 2050 and 2070.
Dude,
Too late.
This is why
We're going to get to net zero by 2050.
This is why.
No, it's too late.
It's too late. This is why I was losing my marbles that other episode about that pledge, that
Right.
Davos pledge. Too late. There's an old Scandinavian saying that we use in my family. Too old, too soon. Too smart, too late.
Yeah, that's true.
And if the world woke up to that, if they actually thought about it for a second, like, maybe that makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, it does. Maybe it would just alter one of your behaviors. And then from that, we don't have to wait till 2050.
But it works that way. You do one little good thing that you do turns into, oh, okay, another. It's like I started getting serious about working out. Now I don't want to drink alcohol at all.
Yeah.
Because I can see on my Whoop that I can see my recovery and what happens to my heart whenever I put poison in my body.
What does completely agnostic, non-dogmatic data tell you?
Exactly. It says, hey,
That
at
was
47 years old, when you drink 2 beers, you're wrecked for 3 days, bro.
Yeah. Your heart rate variability, your recovery, trash.
Yeah. So why am I even going to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally I'll do it, but it's like, but I'm self-aware enough to know the intention of that. So now I play with things. So now I say glutathione, I take that helps with dispersing the alcohol. If I drink a beer, I drink 2 glasses of water while I'm consuming it.
Can I test my behavior in a
And
different
then
way?
see, it still shit my recovery for one day, but at least the next day I'm back in the green. So it's like, okay.
This is how I look at this. The Whoop for you and I is like TARTLE for the globe.
I love this.
So imagine TARTLE was like this giant biometric strap to gauge the thoughts and behaviors and data of humanity.
This is so good.
Okay. And every time we do something stupid with our behavior, we can see those just damaging effects of it. Well, let's retune that through this global marketplace. And then let's like my Whoop, I know what I should be doing. So I don't have to wait till 2050. I can commit to action right now on actionable data.
You know, our big 7 has to look like this. You know, we're going to have to build out these analytics. We're going to have to get our data scientists.
We're going to have to get the data scientists.
Do the big 7 and say, here's where we're at on climate stability. Here's where we're at on human rights.
I love that.
Build it out just like, we won't steal your stuff, Whoop, but we'll use you as a mentor.
Yeah, Whoop, thank you for the layout. Thanks for the format.
Thanks for showing me what I thought it was cool to drink beers and exercise. Thanks for showing me what beer does to me.
We're thanking Whoop.
Yeah.
I want to thank humanity. I want to come on television one day or on this podcast, and I want the entire world to look at it.
Television?
You know what I'm fucking saying. I want to be on here, and I want to look every single human being in the eye, and I want to thank them. Yes. I want to thank them for waking up. I want to thank them for that extra degree of self-awareness that has given them one more year of life on this planet.
Yes.
I want to thank them for that. And I want to thank them 1,000 times over every time they keep taking those steps in the right direction.
And how do you take those steps in the right direction?
You take those steps. The very first step you take is you go on tartle.co. That's the easiest one you can do.
And not only do you get paid for your data, but what do you do for the globe?
For the globe, you're able to share data with the globe that they need that really shows them what's going on. So we don't have to be convinced or believe. We can know for a fact. And then I can also take my earnings and put it towards organizations where I don't give a shit about a financial return. All I care about is the impact, a positive one for the longevity of our future, our species, and every other critter, things that swims, flies, or crawls on this planet. You can do all that. And then you can also look at, what are my behaviors?
Yes.
How is it that I am being perceived by the rest of the world? Is this what I'm doing actually having the greatest amount of impact? No. Well, maybe I should retune this for me and for everybody else.
And retuning. How do you, like with TARTLE, if somebody they may say, I'm in Australia right now and, I surf every day. I'm being very environmental friendly. I live at my mom's house, I'm 19 and I surf every day and I can see the effects of the environment, but I don't think my data is not worth that much. Why should I even sign up? How am I going to help climate stability? How am I going to help the oceans that I surf in by signing up for TARTLE?
Are you kidding? Imagine if we had 1 million people that thought they weren't of any value, but then they collectively came together. So something of the least amount of value becomes something great, does it not? So whether you perceive what you see or how you feel about yourself is small, when we come together in unity of the individual, there is great power in that. So if you are surfing, take a picture, upload it as data on the marketplace. Show us what you see with the coral reef right there in your own hometown. That's powerful. There's a lot of information to be learned right there. There is way more to this world, way more to your actions than you could ever imagine. And so when you do start to imagine, go see the impact of that imagination in real time on the TARTLE marketplace.
And I guarantee you think, well, taking a picture, that's not very powerful. Let me ask you a question. Let's go to a military base, whatever government you're in. And let's have 1,000 people living in that city upload when the gates open and close to that military installation. And then let's see how quick you matter. How those 1,000 people measuring at 7:10 a.m.
Yep.
The gate opens at 7:13. The gate closes, and then it's like, oh, the data says there's a pattern to these high-level security. Let's see how quick those pictures matter.
It's amazing how powerful all of this is. Mm-hmm. So do not say something is something until you've actually experienced it for yourself.
Because it's a false belief.
And because when you believe, you have no knowledge, you have no experience, you lack wisdom.